On this week's episode of Devil's Trap Podcast, we've got 1 grimoire,
2 Plum Sisters,
3 steps,
and 5th base. Let's do this. I like it.
Yeah.
Welcome to this week's episode of Devil's Trap Podcast. I'm Diana.
I'm Liz.
And we're going to talk about Season 13, Episode 12, Various and Sundry Villains.
I don't know why they named it that. There was nothing in the wiki about it, and I just feel like it's a title he came up with. I mean, this is the one that the writer is Steve Yoki, and he's the one that always had like the names in it. So he had the Celebrating Life of Asa Fox and Lily Sunder and Tasha Paynes, and then he went to Advanced Anatology in this season, and so now we're at Various and Sundry Villains. So I don't know what his theme is, and I don't get it.
Me either.
But it's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
What have you been up to?
I've been I guess I've been busy, but not. I don't know what else to say. I feel like I had finally had some chill time, and yeah, I don't have anything crazy to share. I got caught up on School Spirits finally. That's my big excitement, and went to some cute vintage and like resale shops in the suburbs this weekend. And so shout out to Alice Bowie, super cute vintage store, and that's about all I got. Nothing. I'm busy with work or trying to relax and do shit around the house. Like, not exciting life. Just pool time when I can.
Yeah, that's called life. That's normal.
I know.
And
I'm
most people are not going to rock and roll concerts every night, Diana. Most people just kind of go to work and go home, and that's what they do. So yeah, it's called
weird for me.
I know it's weird.
How about you? What are you up to?
Oh, just hanging around, literally. And so it's just aerial stuff right now. Texas Aerial Gathering is this weekend at my gym and other local gym. So there's going to be a bunch of workshops, and people are coming in from all over the state, and sometimes from out of state, to come hang out. So it should be interesting. It's the first one of its kind. I have no idea what to expect, except that's all that's going on in my life. Nothing else is really happening. So
just it's dog shit outside.
It's the dog days of summer. It's where we're at. Yep. And nothing's really going on in the boys' land. I check their feeds. Nothing there either. So
yeah, it's that time of year.
It is. Yeah. So let's just talk about this episode. So this is season 13, episode 12, and it first aired February 1st, 2018. And it was directed by Amanda Tapping, who we know as the angel Naomi, or as I like to call her, Naomi. Mm-hmm. And so she was on the show for quite a while, and directed last season's episode 19, The Future. And then we already talked about who this was written by. So when we get into our recap, we start off with Rowena. We get the Black Grimoire. Dean was cursed. She gave the book back to Sam. Lucifer brutally murdered Rowena. Lucifer's grace being taken by Michael, and Asmodeus, whatever, collected Castiel and Lucifer. And we're going to Wichita, Kansas.
Just north of Wichita on I-135. And we've got this long-haired dude's buying beer or liquor at the liquor store, and he knows the clerk who's reading his gun magazine. But he sees 2 cute chicks giggling an aisle over in the security mirror, and so he's going to go say hi to them. And as one of them walks by him and slips something in his pocket, and so we know this is bad news immediately.
Yeah, it's just like, when you're not pickpocketing, what is the opposite of pickpocketing? Is that pocket
picking? I don't know.
No. Pocket pushing?
Sure.
So she does the opposite of whatever pickpocketing is, and puts in a hex bag in there, while the other one says some Latin, which is also never a good sign.
No, not at all. If someone does that to you, you're in danger.
You're in danger, girl.
And his eyes shimmer, and he looks at one of the girls, and it has basically like just sees like super like rose colored glasses kind of vibes, and we get some sexy sax music playing.
And his eyes go pink, pink. So it's like, there's a whole bunch of eye stuff in this episode. So his eyes go pink, and he's in love. And the girl starts talking him up, and his name is Dale.
Oh,
And
Dale.
Dale, and she's Jamie, and that's her sister Jenny, and they're on their way to Lebanon, Kansas, and he has never heard of it, which is surprising because they were Wichita, and Kansas isn't that big. It's just not.
Yeah. But they're out of gas money, and they want him to be their hero. And that doesn't mean filling them up or giving them money for gas. They want him to take all of the money from the register and a couple of bottles of good vodka and meet them outside. So,
Okay.
and he's like, well, what about Marty, his friend who works there? And she just says, what about him? And kisses him on the cheek.
Yeah. And next we see Marty go through the door.
Yeah, poor Marty. And Dale is walking outside victorious with a bag of money and booze. But Jamie has a sledgehammer.
For protection.
Yeah, because that's what all girls carry for protection, right?
I don't know what you have in your purse.
And they're like, yeah, a guy in there just got killed. It was pretty funny. It was a really funny like side comment. Anyways, but that means Marty's dead, which is sad too. He's not just thrown like knocked out through the window.
Yeah.
But Dale is in love, but Jamie's already forgotten his name. And they share their mom's 3 steps for looking out for themselves. And that is always look your best, never get attached to a man, and always make the death look non-magical so you don't attract hunters.
Makes sense to me. And then Jamie kills Dale with the sledgehammer.
Yeah. Well, Jenny counts the money. Because that's all that matters. Important things.
So we go from there to the bunker. And Dean has brought out some reading material. And it's all the books that talk about alternate realities. And Sam is still in a mood.
Yeah. He's just not optimistic with Jack gone. He's literally in an alternate reality. And Dean's like, look, we're going to find him or we'll just figure out a plan B. We just got to put our heads down and do the work. Dean, the motivational speaker.
So he gives him, after that pep talk, he's going to do his next thing, which is go on a beer run. But maybe they should fill Cass in at some point. And Sam's just like, what's the point? We'll do it when they calls. He checks in every day. And then they show Cass in the jail cell. And we're like, oh.
But that's interesting. So Cass has been checking in every day while he's been in the jail cell. That's how far Asmodeus went on this.
Well, you think about it, he's also keeping tabs on them too.
That's true, because he said, yeah. Yeah,
because he finds out what they're doing. Yeah.
It's true. They said that he has a lot of questions and not a lot of info these days. Clever.
Yeah. So we go to where they're holding Lucifer and Cass in these jail cells. And a demon comes by Lucifer's cell and they call him Dipper. And then there's some penis jokes.
Yeah.
Then Lucifer grabs the bar and it zaps him. And Lucifer does not like Dipper.
No, he doesn't at all. He says he's not nice. But he's also talking about he's not nice. And if he has a little more power, he'll tear this place apart. So Cass is just kind of sitting there and he's just like, they know you don't have power. So this doesn't really work. But Lucifer still wants some of Cass's grace. That's his answer, so that he can then kill Dipper, because he really hates Dipper. And Castiel's kind of like, oh, you know, it's like being a cannibal eating the grace. It's kind of a weird term, like way he tries to flip it. But Lucifer is just flipping it back to there is no I in team, because he wants to be on Cass's team for this. So either way, they're talking about Asmodeus, but he doesn't know where Asmodeus got his shape-shifting power, which is interesting. That is something that Lucifer did not grant.
Right. And he also says that Asmodeus was his weakest creation. So Cass points out that Lucifer just said he was too weak to overcome even his weakest creation. And then Lucifer tells Cass to shut the fuck up and go
Yeah.
back to yourself. And so we go from there to Kansas, where Dean is walking down the street with some beer. And y'all need to buy more than a six pack at a time.
This is
You
seems very
drink
inefficient.
way more than this. Like,
Yeah, like
I guess maybe it gets you out of the bunker to go pick up some more, but there's two of you. One of you is the size of a Mack truck. I can't imagine. You know how many beers it probably takes to get Sam Winchester buzzed?
oh my gosh. Well, and as much as they drink, like, oh, you're gonna have 3 each. Is that what we're gonna do? When are you going back to the store tomorrow? Later today? How is this gonna
Also,
work?
how do they not have beer guts? Anyway, so beyond that, Dean hears some crying and he hears some crying for help. So, of course, he's going to go running, and her coat
Yeah.
is so cool.
And we've got our witchy sisters, Jamie and Jenny. Jamie is laying on the ground pretending to be unconscious, and Jenny is like, "Oh, help!" And he gets a hex bag slipped in his pocket, a magic word whispered, his eyes shimmer, and Jenny suggests that maybe a kiss to wake up true love. So he
Yeah,
kisses.
so now we got some non consensual kissing happening, even though Jamie seems to be down for it. He doesn't know
It seems
this
pretty
woman.
consensual. His
I
sister
know, but
consented for her.
it's just like it's just a random person you just met on the street and just going to start
Well, they didn't
kissing
even meet
her.
her.
Like,
She's unconscious.
yeah, so just like some like dead girl, like, okay, I guess I kiss you now. So, but she wakes up and she asks if he is Dean Winchester. So she
Mm,
knows who he is, and he is feeling good, real good.
but yeah. And then we get Dean entering the bunker with beer, and he is whistling, and he is a happy motherfucker. And Sam's like, you know what? I think you're right. I think we should call Cass. Then he's like, wait, are you okay? And Dean is in love. He calls himself full on Twitter pated. Hmm. But apparently, he describes his new love as sweet and beautiful. Um, and he is going to ask her to move into the bunker. And as he's talking, he is unwrapping the Black Grimoire. It's a gift.
It's a gift for Jamie because she's his soulmate. And she even asked for the book by name. So that seems like it's some kind of cosmic fate, you know? And Sam's just like, oh my God, I know what this is. Don't you
Mm-hmm.
remember Becky
Mm-hmm.
and Vegas? And Gene says he does not. No, he does not remember Becky and Vegas.
Hmm. And Dean continues to tell Sam to be nice because she's got a sister and they might fall in love, and the less attractive siblings being together might be kind of cute. Ah.
So Sam will let Dean leave, so he punches him out. Dean brings the girls the book, but Jenny is upset that he didn't bring Baby because she wanted the car. Jamie then tells Dean to close his eyes because good boys get a kiss, and she's got the sledgehammer ready to go, and she's about to whack him when here comes Sam squealing into the parking lot. Sam pulls out a gun, and Dean tackles him, and the girls decide to take off in case the one with the hair wins.
Which was really funny. I appreciate that line. So they get in their Volvo and drive away. While Sam and Dean are wrestling and fighting on the ground, Sam manages to find the hex bag and throw it away, but that is not sufficient. Dean puts him in a chokehold and says, "I'm sorry, but I love her so much." And then we have like a spark thing hits them, and the hex bag turns pink, and we hear clicky clack of high heels and see some red boots walking up.
Stunning boots, just stunning red stiletto
They're
boots.
really pretty boots.
And who is wearing them? But Rowena!
She's
Hello,
back.
boys! Yay! Looking so ever so amazing. Rowena is back. And so we go from there to our jail.
Mm-hmm.
And Dipper tells Cass that they haven't forgotten about him. The boss has big plans for him when he gets back.
Mm-hmm. And Lucifer's like, yeah, we're all gonna be dead though because Michael's gonna murder everybody when he gets here. And Cass is like, if anyway. So, um, he shares. Lucifer shares that every version of my dick brother, it doesn't matter the cost or who dies, it's just how he rolls. I like that he calls him his dick brother. But anyways, so they're discussing how much time they have, but Lucifer says it just depends how much time Michael spends torturing Mary. And I don't know if he's like actually means this or if he's just really trying to convince Castiel by appealing to him when
he's fucking with Cass. And because he's just like, he's never, and Cass is just like, stopped him. And they start debating about what lying is. So that's why I think he was lying. And then Cass is just like, if you want some truth, I'm going to drop some knowledge about your son. He likes movies where the good guys win. He's thoughtful. He's emotional. He's remarkably intuitive. In fact, he just resurrected me out of fucking instinct. He didn't even have to like get a playbook or anything. That's how cool your son is. And then Cass is like, I'm going to twist this knife a little more. He doesn't even look like you. He reminds me of his mom. And Lucifer gets so mad that he swings his arm and the stick moves.
Yeah, so he has more magic when he's pissed. That's what we've learned. Not magic, power. Yeah. So, Rutrow. So back in the bunker, we've got Sam and Dean and Rowena, and they are asking how she's alive because Lucifer explained how he killed her graphically to them. And she's like, yeah, that happened, but I took precautions. I just temporarily died. It just took, a long time. And now I need the Black Grimoire. That's what I need.
She doesn't want to go through that pain again. And she put a tracking spell on it in a moment of weakness. And the reason that she really wants it is because the Grand Coven cast a binding spell on her that limits her power. And she thinks there's a spell in the Black Grimoire which could help her.
And Dean's like, that's fun. We don't want you to be stronger, though. So I don't know how that's going to work. And Rowena's like, look, I'm afraid they're going to actually damage this book, those girls. So... And Sam and Dean are worried they're going to do bad things with the book. So maybe they can help each other. And Sam's like, no, we've handled witches before. We don't really need you, Rowena. And she's like, oh, no, I've changed. I've changed after having my skull crushed and being burned alive. I mean, it could change a person.
And there's always, whenever they show her disturbing little body, like just all shriveled up, it really gets me. But besides that, she points out that it's her tracking spell. So they want to find the girls that they need her. Also, where is her son? Ooh. So before they have to answer that uncomfortable question, we cut to a hardware store.
Yeah. And Jenny and Jamie are gathering things in a basket, and Jenny's sharing that she can't read parts of the grimoire. It's not because it's too complicated, it's because it's so old. There's symbols in there that their mom never mentioned or taught them about, and so they're gonna have to improvise. And the clerk at the store aggressively asks if they're going to pay for their basket of things this time, and they are not thrilled with her.
Well, Brenda is pretty fun. I like her because she's reading a cat magazine, and one of them, I don't know, I didn't know if it was Jenny or Jamie, reminds like, thank you for reminding us how shopping works, which I also thought was a fun way to think. So anyways, so Jenny thinks the spell needs a soul. Jamie says okay, and they eyeball and
yes. From there, we cut back to the bunker where Rowena has now learned that Crowley is dead. Or as she calls him, Fergus, obviously. And Dean and Sam are explaining how he changed so much. He killed him, he got killed, or he let himself get killed for us. He's changed a lot, and she would be proud. And she's like, no, that was my only child. I would rather have a living son who hated me than a dead hero. So, and they're like, well, he helped us get, Lucifer trapped in the other reality. So that's good. That's good, right? And she's like, no, Lucifer's never gone. So there we go. So they're going to talk about the grimoire and what these girls can do with it. And she's like, they have to have a plan. And I give them credit because they outfoxed y'all big time.
Yeah.
And then she asked Dean if they got to 5th base.
And Dean says that isn't a thing, and Rowena calls him sheltered. Poor Dean Winchester, not knowing about fifth base. So
Mm.
Rowena says also maybe if she helps them, they'll change their minds about helping her.
Yeah. So we cut back to Jamie and Jenny are at a house, and there is a dead lady who is their, we figure out is their mom on a table, and they've got the book and they got a bunch of candles. And Jenny's just not sure because she's having trouble with the spell, having trouble reading the grimoire because of how it's written. And Jamie is like, look, maybe it's time we just make a phone call. And they're like, no, we're not. Jenny's like, no, we're not asking for help. We'll figure this out. So they've got, they're looking at photos of them with their mom because they are trying to bring her back because apparently she was an amazing witch and she deserves to be alive and that only this book can bring her back. And so they're going to cry because they miss their mom, which is very sad, except that they are going to have to go through every spell and crush skulls to do it. But
yeah, and so after we have this heartwarming I believe in you speech in between us, we hear it, I believe in you too, Jenny. And we find out that the hardware store guy is there.
yeah,
And Jenny then grabs a knife out of a mix of knives and asks if they still need a soul. And she goes and she stabs him.
yeah, he just sits there and bleeds. It's weird.
Yeah, he
Kind of
does
weird.
that.
So Sam, Dean, and Rowena arrive in Stillwater, Oklahoma, where she has tracked the book to. So she explains that it's not like GPS, but she knows it's in this vicinity and it's not moving. So Dean's going to be like, okay, Sam and Rowena, you stay here. I'm going to go ask around. And Rowena suggests that he start with women, as her best guess is that the girls aren't popular with other ladies. I can see that. I can see that. So, and we cut back to the prison where Dipper and is visiting Castiel and Lucifer. And he walks in on Castiel telling Lucifer that he's impotent and unnecessary and will die alone. And Dipper is very amused by overhearing Cass talk shit to Lucifer. But what this does is makes Lucifer big mad. And that means Lucifer has power. So he is able to pull Dipper up to the bars, not be affected by it, and says rage is a good motivator. And you forget I'm Lucifer. And then he uses his stick to stab Dipper in the neck.
He does. Cass says someone got mad and broke his warding as they both exit their cages, and then he smites Dipper. And then Lucifer takes his angel blade because, of course, Dipper has an angel blade. Why does everybody have an angel blade? You're demons. You're not angels.
Everybody has angel blades now.
No. So back at Stillwater, Rowena is bored in the car, and we get this really great exchange between Sam and Rowena. And in it, Rowena asks if she can't enslave some town folk and just make them take us to the girls. And Sam responds, I'm very sure you can, but I'm also sure you shouldn't. And Rowena then responds with, bless your precious heart, you just described my entire life. I'm very sure you can, but I'm also sure you shouldn't. It's so good.
That is good. And Sam asks her what her plan is, though, because he's like, you're still going to feel helpless even if you get the book after what he did to you. And she gets pissed and she's like, no. And shares that Lucifer showed her his true face. And now she's scared all the time. And Sam's like, I've seen it too. It keeps me up at night also. And he didn't deal with it. He just keeps pushing it down.
Surprise!
And doesn't talk about it. That's the Winchester way. It's the Winchester way.
You didn't process your trauma. You just decided to shove it down and deal with it later. I am so surprised, Mr. Winchester.
Because he doesn't know how to share. So Dean has made his way to our hardware store where Brenda is there and refers to the girls as the Plum Sisters. He knows who they are. They are apparently popular and a mess of trouble and is not shocked that a man is looking for them. She guesses that they stole his heart and he can't live without them. He's like, no, they stole my book and I don't plan on being nice when I find them. And she is stoked about that, especially if he's going to be really mean. Because she is not a fan and gives him an address. But back at the car, Sam is telling Rowena that she's not going to be able to change what happened, and the fear, the being scared, doesn't really go away. And she's upset, and she's going to step out of the vehicle for a minute and get some air because she just needs a minute. And Dean walks up because he's returning to the vehicle. He's got the address, and Rowena was right. They are not fan favorites in the area. So she looks at the address and says, I did my part, and drops a hex bag and freezes Sam and Dean's feet to the ground and walks off.
Yeah. So then she goes into the house where Jenny is still having trouble with all this weird writing in the book. And they're like, well, maybe the problem was the soul. Maybe he was bad. Maybe he wasn't a good soul to begin with. And they're like, nope, I think it's the writing. And Rowena comes in and she's all, you were supposed to get the book and wait for me. She was in on it the whole time. What? I'm shocked, Rowena. That doesn't sound like you at all. And so the girls hem and haw and say they can take care of themselves. And Rowena's like, look, I can still cast the spell like our deal. And then we take the book because, witches on your level, maybe you shouldn't have something this strong because, it's just not on your level. And that sets the girls off. And they're like, what do you mean we're not good enough?
Mm-hmm. Because they already did the spell. Mostly. Ooh. And creepy dead mom enters the room.
Zombie Here comes Zombie Mom.
And they're like, oh, step one of bringing her back. We just have to finish it after she kills you. And Rowena's like, it's not my first zombie. I got this. But apparently this zombie mom is immune to magic. I don't know. So, yeah, magic proof. Magic proof zombie mom is totally going to eat Rowena's brain. But Dean is mad that Sam got played by letting Rowena get away. And like because she just had to have a minute. And Sam's like, no, she was scared. And then he realizes or can reach the hex bag. So he's going to set it on fire so they will be free and they are going to go kill witches.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about killing some witches because it is time for lore. And when I say witches, I mean women, but So we're traveling back to the 1600s when England was ruled by James Stewart, a man who strongly believed that witches plotted daily for his demise and who published a treatise on witchcraft, demonology. I heard it called today the Demonarium, but I'm going to call it demonology because that's just what my sources said. So, which said that it was a duty of every loyal subject of the monarch to denounce witchcraft wherever they might find it. And James was completely convinced that witches were going to undermine the social order. And lowering the bar for capital conviction in 1604, the Witchcraft Act made it a capital offense to make a pact with the devil, conjure spirits, or seek a familiar. Prior to this, to prove witchcraft, there had to be physical evidence of maleficium, or injury to a person or an animal, or death. But we're going to really talk about people who were in Pendle, which is in Lancashire. And the people in Pendle were poor and struggled. The Duchy of Lancaster had demanded a lump sum of 12 years' rent to confirm land rights, which led to a 39% increase in rent for subtenants, so everybody was real poor and hungry. Additionally, many of those in the Pendle region continued to practice Catholicism in secret and were viewed as lawless and subversive by the city folk of London. The dissolution of nearby monasteries and abbeys left a gap in the care for the poor. The Elizabethan Poor Act of 1601 placed responsibility for caring for the poor on the parish of their birth, but the sick often relied on local cunning folk who used herbal remedies, charms, and primitive healing techniques. And two families, led by two elderly women, ran Pendle's cunning and folk magic business. The first was Elizabeth Southerns, known as Old Dimdyke or Mother Dimdyke, who lived at Malkin Tower with her daughter Elizabeth Device, a widow with three children, Allison, James, and Janet, or Janet. Dimdyke allegedly had been a witch for 50 years, and she was also blind. Allison acted as her guide through town, where they practiced their main occupation of begging. Allison, who was 17, was described as a peculiar girl who avoided eye contact and whose presence unsettled the people of Pendle. The court clerk Thomas Potts wrote, "Her eyes were as wide as dinner plates, and when she deigned to meet your gaze, you were paralyzed by her glassy stare. She never seemed quite there. It was disturbing." Most modern interpretations of the story diagnose her with neurodivergence, likely autism, and they're just like, she just was off,
Oh.
So, the second family was led by Anne Whittle, known as Old Chaddocks, whose clan included her daughter Anne Redfern. The two families had been feuding for over 20 years, trading accusations of livestock diseases, illnesses, and misfortune. A theft of clothing and grain from Malkin Tower in 1601, likely by a member of the Chaddocks family, turned into a protection arrangement in which John Device paid Chaddocks a yearly tribute of oatmeal to ward off her malice. When John died, his family believed Chaddocks had killed him for stopping the payments. She didn't get her oatmeal, and he died. In March of 1612, Allison was begging on the road to Troughton Forest when she met the peddler John Law. She asked if he had any pens, Pins. Pens were rare goods commonly used in folk magic at the time, particularly in love divination and protection charms. And John said no and refused to loosen his peddler's sack for her. And peddler's sack just sounds dirty. Okay. So, rebuked, Allison uttered a curse. And as John turned to walk down the road, he collapsed, his face going slack, and he was unable to speak. Allison was convinced her familiar, a demonic black dog she called Fancy, caused the collapse. John's son Abraham Law brought a complaint that Allison and Fancy not only caused John Law's stroke, but that they continued to torment John in his sick bed. John had seen the great black dog, and sometimes Allison with the dog, staring dead-eyed at the sick man before leaving silently, which is slightly disturbing. Please don't come quietly, silently into a room, stare at me, and leave. I would not like that. But Abraham the son amended the story of the meeting on the road to say that John had in fact given Allison the pens, meaning that Allison had no motive for cursing John, and she did it only because she was a witch filled with malice. Not that it'd be even better she had a reason for it, but there's just like for no reason she was just like, ah. So Allison was brought
vengeful or just mean. That was the options.
So Allison was brought before Magistrate Roger Noel on March 30th, 1612, who used leading questions to extract a confession that fit the legal requirements of the 1604 statute as well as his ambition. People who wanted to suck up to King James wanted to bring him witches. So not only, though, did Allison confess to her familiar striking down John Law, she told him how she cast the curse. She said after she was refused the pens, her familiar appeared before and asked, "What wouldst thou have me do at that man?" "What canst thou do at him?" Allison asked. "I can lame him," the dog replied. Allison agreed, and before the peddler was gone 40 rods further, he fell down lame. Allison said that she got the familiar after selling her soul for the power to do anything in the world.
Whoa.
It's a pretty big power.
That's a big power.
It is. So in addition to confessing her crimes, Allison also accused her grandmother, who she blamed for her corruption, of performing a ritual which killed the daughter of a neighboring farmer. And then, not only sticking to her own family, Allison started throwing the Whittles, the Chaddocks family, under the witchcraft bus. She accused Old Chaddocks of killing one of her friends for laughing at her and other various witchy crimes. Roger Noel then interviewed Dimdyke and Old Chaddocks, who both freely admitted to practicing witchcraft. Dimdyke said she had made the pact with her familiar Tib when she turned 60. Old Chaddocks got her familiar 5 years later. Both familiars took the form of young men who offered to do the women's bidding in return for their souls and gave the women powers to heal and curse. The magic they practiced combined. I really hope they were hot young men. I left that part out. I'm just assuming that they were.
I think it's a given, right?
I think it is. So, some magic took the form of sympathetic magic, which involved the making and using of items that resemble the people they wish to have influence over. Some involved charms that combined folk beliefs with the elements of Catholic prayers. Demdike would create a picture of clay of her victims to focus her will. She would prick it with a pen or thorn in places where she wanted the person to get ill. So, kind of like a puppet or what we call a voodoo doll. If she wanted to kill the person, she burned the clay. So after these conversations, Allison Demdike Shaddix and Anne Redfern, Shaddix's daughter, were arrested. After this, on Good Friday, which was April 10th, it is said there was a witches' sabbat at Malkin Tower, plotting to blow up Lancaster Castle and to hex the jailer to death. In reality, most of the gathering were elderly women. James Device stole a sheep to feed the group, but it just did not look great to have a bunch of people meeting on Good Friday, which was a sacred day on the Christian calendar, and a subversion of this into a witch party would be super heretical. Add in a plot to explode a castle, and you have escalated from witchcraft to high treason against God. So the suspected witches were arrested and committed to the dungeons of Lancaster Castle, which were pretty bad as far as dungeons go. There was, I don't know they're good dungeons, but there was no light, there was no warmth or sanitation. Demdike would not survive the accommodations until trial. She died before she even got 21 people were on the jail calendar for the assize judges for August 18th. The assize, I just like saying that word, the assize, I know it's the assize. So the assize judges visited Pendle twice a year. Court was presided over by judges Sir James Altham and Sir Edward Bromley. Bromley was hoping for a transfer to a judicial court nearer London and knew that a successful conviction of a dangerous coven would demonstrate his loyalty to a witchcraft-obsessed king. Altham was trying to restore his reputation after being accused of a screw up at the York Assizes earlier that year. No counsel was provided for the defendants, and they could call no witnesses of their own. The evidence presented relied on their confessions and was undoubtedly influenced by neighborhood grudges. Old Shaddix was the first on trial, accused of murdering Robert or John Nutter 18 years before. She pled not guilty, but confessed after evidence was presented that Demdike and James Device had said earlier to Roger Knoll. Elizabeth Device was next, and she was charged with 3 counts of murder. The key witness was Jeanette, who was placed on a table in the center of the courtroom because she was 9, so everyone could see and hear her. Janet testified that she had been a witch herself for 3 years and that she had conversed with a spirit in the shape of a dog. She accused her mother of murdering local villagers and having a familiar spirit in the shape of a dog named Ball. She also talked about making clay images in order to cause death. So 17th century English courts normally wouldn't allow a child to testify against their own family, but there were exceptions made for witchcraft trials under King James's Witchcraft Act of 1604, in which he argued that since witchcraft was high treason against God, normal evidentiary rules don't.
Of course.
Janet said there were about 20 people at the witches' feast of beef, bacon, and mutton, and she pointed them out in open court, including the wealthy gentlewoman Alice Nutter, the weaver's wife Catherine Hewitt, alias Moldheels, and the mother pair son Jane and John Bulcock. She even described where everyone sat. Elizabeth would have to be removed from the courtroom because of her screams of anguish at her daughter's betrayal. She would be found guilty. James was tried next and also found guilty. And Redfern was tried for the death of Chris Nutter 18 years earlier. The evidence hinged on Nutter's daughter, remembering that her father believed he was a victim of a curse. She also had been seen making clay image devices by James. She had been seen making clay images by James Device and was found guilty. Next was Alice Nutter, who was not like most of the accused, and the name is probably familiar. She is in Good Omens. She's a character in that. A lot of the characters in Good Omens are named after the Pendle Witches. But in addition to that, the singer for Chumbawamba changed her name to Alice Nutter. So
that's funny.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a statue of her. Anyways, Alice Nutter is one of the more well-known names of this. So she wasn't a cunning woman, nor was she poor. She was a widow of a farmer and had land, and her children were of, quote, good hope, which I assume means they were not assholes. Jenna would choose her by hand in the courtroom as an attender of the feast. Some historians have speculated that she was in a land dispute with Roger Knoll, and her death served to reward her rival with her property. Another theory is that she was a member of a Catholic family and that she kept her silence during the trial because she attended a secret mass on Good Friday and she didn't want to get any renegade priests in trouble. So, whatever the case, her conviction would be used to send a message to other Catholics in hiding at the time. Catherine Moldheels Hewitt was also convicted based on Jenna's testimony. Jenna's evidence against John and Jane Bullock was even more absurd. Jeanette remembered John turning a spit on which they had roasted the sheep that Good Friday. Since it was illegal to aid or assist a witch, this was enough in 1612, along with other hearsay evidence, to seal the fate of both defendants. Kind of reminds me of that law, like when you're present at a crime, just because you're there, like then you're a part of the crime. And this is like you're just turning a spit with the witches, and that was assisting them. So you are now a witch too, and now you're being hanged. Then Margaret Pearson was tried for killing a horse by riding it to death, which was called being hag-ridden, from which we get the modern word haggard. Today I learned. Yes. So yes. I don't like the idea of the term.
Words.
Yes,
I like
yes.
learning about
we
words.
like etymology, not horse death.
Correct.
So she was convicted, although not condemned to death, and said she was to be pilloried for 4 consecutive market days. That's when they stick your hands in the stocks and people can throw things at you. And then she also was condemned to serve a year in prison. Allison would be the last to be tried, and the star witness against her was John Law, who had to be assisted into the court. Allison again begged for his forgiveness. The court asked her to restore his health, and she said she wasn't powerful enough of a witch to do that. Demdike could have, but she's dead, so no dice, John.
Damn.
So eventually 9 people were sentenced to hang for witchcraft on Gallows Hill. Elizabeth, James, Allison, Anne Whittle, Old Shaddocks, and her daughter Anne, Alice Nutter, Catherine Hewitt, aka Mold Hills, and Jane Bullock and her son John. It is thought that their bodies were thrown into unmarked graves or a pit on the moors, as those convicted of witchcraft were denied burial in consecrated ground. 9-year-old Janet was not convicted. She was she was arrested as well. So, but because of her testimony, she was set free. However, in 1633, she was accused of murdering a local woman by witchcraft by a young boy named Edmund Robinson. First, she was found guilty along with 16 others, but when Edmund's story was found to be fabricated, she was acquitted. It is likely that she was too poor to pay the board fees required for release from Lancaster Castle, and she may have died in the same dungeon her grandmother did, as she disappeared from the records, so we're unsure of her fate. The book on this case, written by Thomas Potts.
A little karmic, too, probably.
Yeah, a little bit. So the book on this case, written by Thomas Potts, was included in a reference manual for magistrates, including those in the colonies in America, leading to the use of children's testimony in witchcraft trials, which is what would lead to the demise of the witches in Salem. So we have this witchcraft trial to be, this is where they were like, little kids can come up and say whatever they want, and we will believe them.
Yeah, that's, huh.
That was a trial of the Pendle Witches. Yeah.
I mean, it's sad.
It is sad, but it's always fascinating, how these, and just how the poor laws come into effect. And we'll at some point, when we have another witch, we may do. There was 3 other witches that were tried at the same time as the Pendle Witches, who were actually acquitted, and that's an interesting story. But it was too long for this, so we may come back to them. But yeah, just I don't know. I like witchcraft stories, and even if they're sad. Well, I know, shocking. So let's get back to this witchcraft story, but we're not into witchcraft right now. So we are at Lucifer and Cass.
And they are free after they fought off 4 more demons. And Lucifer is still trying to convince Castiel to give him some grace, because this would be so much easier if he was stronger. They just fought side by side. Don't you trust me? And Castiel's like, no, you've betrayed me a bunch. You betray everybody. Why the fuck would I trust you?
You are Lucifer.
Yeah. And so Lucifer's eyes glow, and Castiel stabs him. And his eyes flicker, like sputtering out.
between red and normal eyes. So that's also, Cass has also gotten an angel blade during this fight. So of course he did. Ah! So back in Stillwater, Oklahoma, Rowena offers to help. The girls say it's too late, but Sam and Dean have shown up, and the girls aren't afraid of guns until Dean tells them they have witch-killing bullets, which seems dumb because now the witches fling them and they fight. I think you like they go guns and then you shoot them, and then you say witch-killing bullets. You don't go witch-killing bullets so they can get away.
Correct. It seems like there was a lot of talk that prevented them from winning this. Yeah, so we've got Sam and Dean fighting two witches. Rowena's in the bathroom getting the door broken down by the magic immune zombie mom. And the Dean points out that the girls are really weirdly strong. Could it be a spell? And Jamie's like, you think? And it is a rough fight. They are barely holding their own. And finally, Dean tells Rowena to shoot one of them in the head.
The zombie, no,
Yes.
because Marina's losing the fight to the zombie and wants suggestion. So Dean's like, try shooting it in the head,
Yeah.
and then she gets the gun,
and she is able to do that. And then she comes out and says a spell, and the girls let Sam and Dean go, and immediately start bleeding from their eyeballs.
They turn into the rage monsters, as that's the spell that Rowena casts, and then she tells them to end it. And they don't go after the Winchesters; they go after each other.
Yeah, it's kind of dark, and they stab and beat each other to death.
They do. That's the end of the Plum Sisters. So the Plum Sisters have been demised. Rowena has the book, but the boys don't want her to keep it because they are mean.
Yeah. And she's like, this was not just a double cross, it was a triple cross. She's like,
it's on your side the entire time, boys. You know, I'm so special. And then she begs Sam for the spell because she can't be helpless again.
Yeah. But Sam just takes the book from her and she walks away. Yeah. So it's time for beers in the bunker. And Dean can't believe that he got put under a love spell and got clocked by a witch with a hammer.
Yeah, I'm saying he got hammered by a witch. And then Sam brings up, and zombie mom, and those are the details that solve the story. And then Dean says some stuff. He's like, like getting beat up by a girl. That's a story I want to tell someone. And then Sam points out that girls beat them up all the time. That's right, true. Sam. True.
It's true. Facts. And Dean acknowledges it's true. And but Dean wants to remind Sam that Rowena is not their friend. Because he has already discovered this and wants to point out that when you open the Black Grimoire, there's a page missing. And he knows that that Rowena got in Sam's head and he gave her that page that she wanted for that spell. And Sam's like, look, if she wants to break bad, I'll hunt her down. Like if she goes evil again on us, but right now I know she's right. I've seen, what she's seen, and I hope that, I hope she makes Lucifer suffer. Bam. And Sam finally kind of like talks about like he wants to open up about the dark place in his head because he knows what Rowena's dealing with. She's not the only one who's felt helpless. We had a plan. We were going to help Jack. We were going to bring Mom back. And that's what kept me from spinning off the rails. And now there's nothing. And so Dean's like, we'll figure it out. And Sam's like, I'm going to go to bed.
Yeah, so Sam's still Moby, and Dean can't walk because he got hammered by a witch. Yes. And then we go to Rowena's candle shop, which is what I'm calling wherever she is at. I don't know if it is a hotel or her apartment.
Hotel with a lot of candles. It is a fire hazard, ma'am.
It's not only a fire hazard, she also painted all over the floor. So,
Security deposit's gone, fire hazard, all the things.
I'm sure it smells good, but I'm surprised she's not even setting off some smoke alarms in here. But so she's making some Eggos, and then everything goes all crazy, and she cuts her throat, and her eyes get all bloody, and we see some purple glowy chains on her that come off.
Yeah.
And now she has violet glowy eyes. Hooray. That seems great.
Yay. It does seem fun.
And actually, yeah, this is a nice contact solution there. So,
Right.
Pam, I got violet eyes. Look at me. I'm Elizabeth Taylor.
And that's our episode. She
That's our
broke the
episode.
binds.
She
Yeah.
broke the ties that bound her or something. So, and they were purple.
They were purple.
They're pretty. So do we have some purple people eaters to talk about?
Yes, we have some cast to talk about. We've got Jenny Plum was played by Elise Gatien, and she's been in episodes of Smallville and iZombie and Unreal and Ghost Wars. She was Candace or CJ in Tower Prep as a reoccurring character. She's a young woman in 50 Shades of Grey and Lark in Virgin River as a reoccurring character. Jamie Plum was played by Jordan Claire Robbins. She has been in episodes of the series 12 Monkeys and iZombie, and she is Grace in Umbrella Academy, a regular character there. Dipper was played by Shane Dean. He's been in Arrow, Fear of the Walking Dead, X-Files, and Man in the High Castle. Marty, who died at the very beginning, he's somebody that picks up small roles in Supernatural from time to time, played by Sean Tyson. He does a lot of stunt work, so that's most of his repertoire, but Legends of Tomorrow, Charmed, Nancy Drew, and Supernatural, actually. Then he's also been seen as an actor in 4400, Smallville, V, Lucifer, iZombie, and Fire Country. Dale was played by Mike Koval, and he's also Kovac, excuse me, and he's also been someone that we've seen before. He's mostly stuntman as well. Van Helsing, Batwoman, and Last of Us are some of his credits in the stunt world. Brenda, our clerk, is played by Angela Moore, also someone that's been in another episode of Supernatural, but she does the voice of Lucy in Snow Dogs. I thought we should know that. And then she was Ms. Miles in the 2003 Wrinkle in Time movie. She plays the wife in I, Robot and is a shelter worker in Noelle. Our clerk that gets murdered is Adam Klassen. He's been in episodes of Siren, Riverdale, and Murder in a Small Town. And our zombie mom is played by Sharon Sims, also a stunt woman who's been most recently doing stunts in the series Elle, but she's also done stunts for The Last of Us, Sonic the Hedgehog, Trackers, Predator, X-Files, Snakes on a Plane, X-Men The Last Stand. She's the Man as Amanda Bynes' stunt double, and Blade Trinity, iRobot, and Rollerball. Well, things nice. She did stunt work in. So, yeah. There we go. Oh, man. Well, so we got Rowena back. That's the big news.
Rowena can never die. Yes, and then we get the tragic reminder that we no longer have Crowley, and also get to see it's interesting to see her reaction to Fergus being dead, as for happening for real for her, and her actually having emotions for it and not just blowing it off.
Yeah, it's all right, probably because I think the rest of the episode, a lot of her emotions were hard to read as to the reality of them for her character, because she does use them as a tool a lot. I think the fear part is real a little bit, but obviously that reaction was probably the most legit. And then I think, I don't know, I think, Dean's still trying to give Sam the pep talk was definitely an important part of the episode too. But we also got Lucifer figuring out how to, gain his power back by being pissed.
Well, I mean, but on the Sam thing, Sam's already moping, right?
Yeah.
So he's already kind of in, and if we're, serious, serious diagnosis land, Sam's someone who's, probably suffering from depression, at least has like serious trauma issues here. And now we have Rowena basically, reminding him of trauma he hasn't processed. You remember about all the time that you saw Lucifer's true face, and all the horrors that you were going through that you have not dealt with, that you have just put behind that wall that death set up a long time ago. So it's it's interesting to have this solution still not be that Sam deal with his trauma, Like, I feel like it's still kind of getting pushed further down. Even when he tried to process it with Dean, Dean was giving still kind of that we don't really we don't process our trauma in this family kind of vibe. Like, you should still be happy, and I want you to be gung ho moving forward, but I don't want to talk about the sad stuff. It's kind of what
Yeah,
I get from
I think
Dean.
it's hard. I think it's hard for Dean to cope with Sam being in that mindset because historically, when Dean's been the one that's gotten upset, Sam's the cheerleader for the
Yeah,
family. So that's the
I know.
harder part. So yeah.
I know, but Sam's been on has been moping for has been
Oh
this
yeah,
has
this
been going on
season has
for
been.
this is this is his time to do that. So yeah,
He's allowed to be sad sometimes, I guess.
I mean, he's allowed to be sad. I just
I'm
wish he would.
teasing.
I wish he would process the sad instead of shoving it down or walking off from Dean when he gets upset. That's not going to solve any problems.
Everybody copes differently or chooses not to cope. I'm just teasing about the characters. So, yeah. But yeah, it was a fun episode though. I thought the characters were fun. I don't know if I want more of the Plum Sisters. That was a little stressful, but I also was entertained by them.
They were fun characters. I think mainly because they were dressed cute, and that can take you really far. So they were dressed cute and they had good hair.
They followed their mom's rules. That was,
They follow their mom's rules. I appreciate a chick who can wield a sledgehammer.
That's very heavy to do that effectively.
It's very heavy to do that effectively because I mean I know she like wants him to hold still and that helps, right? Like I couldn't swing a head sledgehammer at a moving target.
It's a lot.
I know.
By the time it starts coming down, like it's like the force of it.
The momentum, right? Because you're so I mean you've got to be accurate. I know I'd hit my foot.
That sounds very painful.
It sounds very painful, so I don't think I need a sledgehammer.
No, I agree. I agree with that assessment. I don't want one either.
No. I mean, they're fun tools to have, but no, I kind of want a sledgehammer. It seems like something like you like who has like why do you have a sledgehammer? Like is that part of your tool like your garage thing? Like I just cleaned out a house where someone lived for over 40 years. And I didn't find a sledgehammer there.
I don't think we have one, but I could be wrong. I'd have to ask. That'd be a question.
I feel like it. I don't know. Just if
I know I have a crowbar.
I guess you get them at Home Depot, right? I mean,
guess
where does one buy a sledgehammer? So many questions. So many things I don't know.
I'm gonna assume a Home Depot stop.
Yeah, and
or
she
whatever.
She was in that hardware store.
Yeah,
she
bought
it. She stole it from Brenda.
Or Brenda, excuse me.
Brenda. Yeah, Becky was the
Becky got mentioned in this episode.
Becky
too,
Rosen
so
got
me
off. I know.
But Brenda would probably be like very concerned if she saw them buying a sledgehammer. They must have bought it somewhere else.
Well, or stole it.
Oh,
it sounds like they don't pay for much.
Fact.
Oh, I don't know. I enjoyed them. They were shallow, and I could watch more of them. I'm not saying I like them. I just say I enjoy them.
I appreciate the difference for sure. Oh man. But yeah, I'm intrigued to see where we're going to go having Castiel and Lucifer on the go and with whatever they're going to try to do. We've got a lot. I mean, we're halfway through the season and we've got a lot to address.
So a lot to go on. We still don't know where Jack and Mary are. So we gotta suss that out.
And then whatever Kaya in a robe, whoever that is, coming around now. So we haven't seen that in a couple episodes either.
Nope, haven't seen that one either.
We'll see.
I guess we'll see how that ends up. All right, I think there's a note to end it on. So cheers, jerk.
Cheers, bitch.